What's going on, Port fans? Welcome back to another video on my channel, and today we're going to be previewing round 13, Port Adelaide versus Hawthorn at the Adelaide Oval this Saturday afternoon. It's going to be a very interesting contest with Hawthorn hapless near the bottom of the ladder. Port Adelaide still sitting top, even though they got absolutely poleaxed by Geelong last week. It is a must-win game for Port Adelaide in the circumstances of the season to keep at the top of the table and make sure continue on our very good form that we've had besides last week. And Hawthorn, well, they're still looking for a bit of pride in their season, continuing off a loss from West Coast last week. So let's get straight into this preview and see exactly what I think will pan out. Firstly, I'd like to address the COVID breach from both Dan Houston and Pete Ladhams. Unfortunately, we've lost them for a couple of games over the next coming weeks due to their idiotic behaviour that happened over a couple of weeks ago now against the Dogs. A little bit of a party was occurred at Pete Ladhams' house, and unfortunately, well, they've had to be sanctioned. And during these times where we're trying to keep the season afloat still and trying to get as much football as possible into what's already been a pretty difficult season to adjust and try and make sure everyone's staying safe and healthy, and everyone's following the protocols correctly. And we just continually keep getting these breaches from different players, different clubs, and unfortunately now it's happened to our own. And Pete Ladhams, Dan Houston, they're too. Well, Pete Ladhams has just broke into the side. He's been in pretty good form over the last few weeks. Dan Houston he should know better, shouldn't he? He's been a star mate of the club for a while now, and an emerging leader, and has been in great form playing for the club over the last couple of years. And he's really starting to get into his own, and an exciting future for Dan. And unfortunately, with spots available, spots not available as easily as some would like, you just can't burn your spot like that. And they're both quality footballers, but it's really frustrating that we've had to go down this road. I don't know where the idea comes into the mind to have a party as such, during this time, but it's just not good enough, and both players are required players, and now we're going to be missing them, and we've had to make changes to that team, and it's unfortunate, it's stupid, and I really do hope that it doesn't happen again from our club's point of view, and across the AFL as well. I really hope that players and staff and everyone that's involved with the football clubs in hubs and in their own football environment, that they know what's the right thing to do and they stick to it, and at least until the season's done. So at least then, we can move forward as a community and get football back to as normal as possible. Because the quicker we can, stick to our guns and stick to the protocols, the quicker this thing gets over with. And that's just not in football terms, that's in terms of everyday life. So it's unfortunate, but we do move on. We do have a game to play, and it's a very important one. While I'm talking about players that are going to be missing games, I may as well talk about the changes that Port Adelaide have made. So 4 changes, 2 unforced and 2 forced changes. Dersma and Farrell are the other 2 outs. Ken Hinkley did state that they are purely based on form for being dropped, just not to the standard that the coaching staff would like, not playing their role as well enough as probably they'd like as well. And I think over the last couple of weeks, maybe Farrell and Dersma have been carried a little bit, and they probably got found out a bit more against Geelong. I thought Dersma was pretty good against the Dogs, and I think he's still trying to get his way back from his hamstring injury that he did have. And Farrell, well, he did come out with a bang early on when he came into the side, but has dropped off, and that seems to be the way with him from time to time. But he's still an emerging player, and I think we'll still see him come in at some stage again this season. We've got Hoff and Ebert coming back into the side, which is good additions. I expected them to come back anyway. I think bit of experience, bit of composure around the football, bit of hardness. It's just what we've lacked, even against Richmond and stuff like that. So they will come in handy. And I think, who are the other 2? The other 2 are Lena and Bonner. Bonner, yeah, he seems to be that bloke that just gets picked. Just why not? there's a spot available, we'll put in Bonner. You know, lean it. He's probably deserved his spot a little bit more. He's been good when he does come in and fill in the role. Unfortunately, that's all he is at the moment, is a fill-in. I would have liked to see the likes of Bergman and Garner maybe come into the side. Just give some players a different crack, you know. It's just, we're the only team to use 30 players. We're the only team that's used, we're the team that's used the least amount of players across the competition. Eventually, we're going to get found out. And the players are saying, yeah, we'll trust our instincts and trust our performances. And I think we got found out a bit last week, and that tiredness might be sneaking in. So I think we need to start using some of these players that we have at our disposal, because one, it's getting them game time. Two, we're going to have fresh players going into finals if we keep rotating and using them better than others. You just got to utilise this situation as best you can. We're going to play finals. It's just a matter of keeping at that intensity, but also utilising the facilities and the players that you have to get the best out of yourselves and prepared for a good crack at the premiership. And at the moment, I don't know. The management of players is just a big question mark. But nonetheless, you only can do what you can. And Hoff and Ebert, I'm happy they're back at least. The game itself, well, it's a must-win for Port, isn't it? Hawthorn don't have O'Meara and Sicily. It is indigenous round as well, so we're going to welcome back Wingard, MP, Sean Burgoyne back to the Adelaide Oval. Former Port Adelaide players, and they're very proud of their indigenous histories, and it's a very special round. We're representing in the indigenous community, the cultures, and showcasing what they're all about, and learning as well. That's the one thing that we all got to do, is keep learning about these different cultures, and especially with the Aboriginal culture that is so strong in Australian history and in football community as well. We've got Carl Amon, Sam Powell-Pepper. I can't remember off the top of my head who else is playing tomorrow, but it's a special round. It's good that we have it at the Adelaide Oval in front of 10,000 people. We don't usually get the Indigenous round here at the Adelaide Oval, so that's really special. And I think, it's just one thing after the other, We've just got so much riding on this game, and with the Indigenous round, wearing the Indigenous Guernsey that's representing the past, the proud past of Port Adelaide Indigenous players, to the bold future with Carl Amon, Trent Burgoyne, Sam Powell-Pepper, these likes of players that are part of our community. It's good to represent them, and I think that's going to be one of the driving forces going into the game tomorrow. I think the main thing with tomorrow, this is probably the top of the list that I'm intrigued about, is expectation. We come off a big win against Richmond, and we're top of the ladder. People are saying, yep, flag favourites. Did we get a bit contempt going into Geelong, expecting it to just happen again? And then that's what happens. We get pumped by 10 goals because we expected it to happen, didn't happen, and now we're a little bit weary. Oh, maybe we're not as good as what we are. You got to keep believing you're as good as what you are. And that's the challenge against Hawthorn. Challenge for Ken Hinkley as well, because Alistair Clarkson has out-coached him multiple times when they've come head-to-head over the last few years. This is a massive chance for Port Adelaide to... It's not going to make a massive statement across the AFL. It's going to, reinvigorate the point that Port Adelaide are thereabouts still. But it's to ourselves that we can prove that we're expected to win this one. We'll go out and win it. And it's going to be a bit of a confidence boost as well. And that's the thing. It's a massive challenge against ourselves. That's the biggest point that's coming out of tomorrow. It's a massive challenge for ourselves, and if we win, we exceed an expectation to win, and we can continue to tick those boxes off. And we do that, and we'll continue on our merry way, still staying at the top of the ladder, and be able to have so much momentum going into finals. Because if we win these last 5 games, going into finals with a week off after the minor rounds, wow, that's massive going into what's going to be a very interesting final series. So it's very important we get the job done tomorrow. And I'm very wary of Hawthorn. They can be plucky when they want to. And I think it will be a bigger challenge than what we expect. I'm going to tip Port Adelaide by 33 points. I do think we'll bounce back, and we've been really good at bouncing back throughout this season so far, after every loss and after every setback. So I think once again that word resilience will come into play, and we'll be able to do the job in front of the fans. It's going to be an interesting day weather-wise. It's supposed to stop raining by the time the game starts. It will be cold, and I still think it'll be a bit dewy. So got to play our percentages, play it right. And I know Hawthorn do play percentages really, really well when it comes to wet weather. So we've got to be wary of that. They've got some dangerous forwards. And, you know, with Wingard, Impey and Burgoyne back in the vicinity of Port Adelaide people, anything can happen. So give it to them, but also respect them, because they serve the club really well. So I look forward to seeing this clash, because I think it's going to be a little bit closer and a little bit more competitive than people think. Well, that wraps up this round 13 preview of Port Adelaide versus Hawthorn. Let me know in the comments below what you're thinking, Port fans, of this one. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new, for plenty more Port Adelaide and AFL content coming your way across the rest of this season. My name is Anthony, and as always, can the pair.